Hi everyone, welcome to Cloudy Party Tea Time. I'm Lil Pie, and here with me is my partner, Vampy.
Yes, I'm Vampy.
We decided to create this podcast because both of us have very strong opinions about things, ranging from either different fandoms, music, or the random books, I guess. So tonight is our very first podcast, which we hope will be the most of many. So we shall dive right in with the first topic, the problem with Cartoon Network and girls.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
So, Cartoon Network recently canceled Young Justice, Green Lantern, and, what else? I can't remember.
It was, I believe, the Batman.
Oh, yes, the Batman.
Either the Batman or it was under another name. No,
the
Beware the Batman. That's what it was.
Beware the Batman. Yeah, they canceled it because, not because of low ratings. No, it wasn't because of that. If it was for low ratings, people wouldn't be as mad. But instead, it was because of the fact that girls were watching it more than their target audience of boys.
It wasn't just girls, though. It was also girls in whole families. I can only attest to mine, but I can tell you, when any of these shows came on, including Star Wars, the animated feature, its little animated cartoons and stuff, my family, which is just me, my dad, and my mom, we would be watching that. We would sometimes watch it together, watch it apart, but we will be watching it.
And it's really shameful because, honestly, they're trying to do it for the toys. Like how they canceled Symbiotic Titan. They canceled that. Because it was like toy sales they couldn't get a toy deal out of it. And it's like, it's the same dude who made Samurai Jack.
Which is, as most people remember, one of the better cartoons that came out of the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
By Lee.
And now we have crap like The Amazing World of Gumball, which is just some madman's flash animation fantasy gone wrong. Adventure Time, even though I kind of like Adventure Time, it's just not as great as the earlier cartoons were. I mean, Dexter's Lab, it made you think. Powerpuff Girls, don't get me started on the reboot. We'll cover that next week when we watch it.
God.
And, Cow and Chicken.
But, there are like one or two. I will not crap over all of the new cartoons, even though a lot of them are kind of crappy. And the whole flash animation thing is kind of so that it's not expensive or something like that. But one of the newer cartoons I'm not going to lie, I do enjoy is Steven Universe. I actually want to see that thing become its own little entity and grow up. Because it basically was created by a woman for everyone. Hey, Cartoon Network, take a look at this.
And it is the same person it actually is created by one of the animators from Adventure Time. She left Adventure Time like after the whole fiasco with Flame Princess.
What happened with Flame Princess?
Well, apparently Finn and Flame Princess aren't together anymore.
Okay.
And it's apparently it was from what I'm gathering, the whole Adventure Time fandom flipping out because Finn was with Flame Princess instead of Princess Bubblegum. But here's the thing. People in the fandom, you guys gotta think. She's 18. Finn is like 13, I think now? I don't know.
I don't know. He's a child. He's still like in middle school age range.
Exactly.
Would you date a middle schooler? Don't care how hot he is or she is.
And
they.
Mm-hmm.
But would you really date a 13-year-old if you're 18?
I really think Cartoon Network needs to get their priorities straight. I mean, in all honesty, I actually started watching Young Justice when it was getting good. When it was actually getting good.
Girl, you have no idea the power that was behind these cartoons. And people who love superheroes. Most they're now just getting around to the fact where they're realizing, oh, people other than white boys like like these superheroes. Oh, so people other than boys like these superheroes? Gee, Sherlock, I don't know. What was your first hint?
And we actually don't watch it to see them in spandex. I am a huge fan of Robin. I love Robin to death.
You're alone on that one.
I mean, from the Golden Age, when he was just Batman's sidekick, up into Teen Titans. Don't get me started on Teen Titans Go. But up into the classic Teen Titans, Robin was like awesome. How many times has he died and came back?
It depends on which Robin you're talking about, sweetie. I mean, there are actually 5 Robins.
The one Robin that became Nightwing.
That would be Dick. He's the first one. Then you had Jason Todd, and then after him was Tim Drake. Then Damian Wayne came up in like the last couple of, from sometime in the 2000s-ish range.
I think it was.
And then you also had Stephanie, who was Robin, and she was Robin before Damian was, and so temporarily she counted. She's only, from what I've heard in the rumor mill, she's only now being brought back.
Now that's cool. A female Robin.
Well, not as Robin. She's going to be brought back as Batgirl, most likely, because that was what she was at one point, too. She was also known as Spoiler. These are her incarnations before she became a Robin for a temporary short amount of time. But she went back to being Batgirl later after that.
See, now that's cool.
Yeah.
If you're in the Batman family, you either become a Robin or a Bat.
In the Batman family, you don't know what happiness is, except for a few grains of salt.
What's next? Alfred becoming Batman?
That'd
be cool.
No, Alfred, like, joking about it, but Alfred is no slouch himself. This guy used to be a secret agent.
Now that's awesome. That is awesome.
He also has, like, degrees in psychology and all other things at the wazoo that we don't even know about. Alfred is amazing.
He's the man behind the Batman.
Literally.
Which is true.
He raises everybody. Bruce don't raise nobody. Everybody.
Yeah, something come up, all Bruce gonna say is, I am the knight, and he runs away.
We're so silly. But yeah, back to the top of the superheroes. I mean, the thing that kills me is the toy sales bit. Because they push, come on, let's be real here. Everyone that had grown up in my generation, at least, that's a girl, has been pushed with toys all their lives. Like dolls, the accessories, everything. And they really think that we won't buy superhero toys? Really? Now, here's another thing that will interest you a little bit, is the quality of the toys wasn't that great.
I've actually seen a lot of them in the store inside the packaging with their heads ripped off.
As you can see, here's the thing, Cartoon Network. If you make toys, make good toys. Make toys that everybody wants. Don't half-ass it with some slap of paint and pretend it's okay and it's good to go. No.
And you guys got to think about the collectors. The collectors. There are a lot of people who collect superhero characters.
Oh my God, you have no idea. Like, my friend has sent me Red Lantern Mira. I almost died. I have not taken that thing out of its package since she sent it to me.
See, we're different. I actually take mine off the packaging and put them on the shelf.
Well, not entirely, because I still have my little big-headed Michonne doll, who I've taken out of the package and I play with endlessly, because that's what I do with her. She just sits everywhere, rides a dog, attacks people.
That's just cool. Okay. Well, to tell the truth, it's kind of Cartoon Network's just becoming a greedy company.
Wow, what was your first clue?
I mean, recently they canceled the Looney Tunes show after 3 seasons.
Well, I can kind of see why.
It was actually good. It's pretty good. It was good. It was good. It
We're gonna
started
have to
getting better.
on this opinion. I'm sorry. I'm firmly old school Looney Tunes. But then again, we kind of have our own shame, which was Extreme Looney Tunes, which had the Looney Tunes characters as superheroes.
You mean Lunatics Unleashed? Now that's stupid.
I'm sorry. I do not own any idea of this. The furthest I went with Looney Tunes being superheroes was Space Jam.
Okay, Space Jam, yes.
I don't
Space Jam was good.
Space Jam was my shit.
But yeah, and then, Cartoon Network is milking Scooby-Doo for all he's worth now.
Oh, God. I am so sick of Scooby freaking Doo. I mean,
they need to put the dog down. He just needs to be put down.
It's not that he needs to be put down. They just need better everything. Because,
you haven't heard about the recent Scooby-Doo movies, have you?
Sweetheart, I've ignored anything that was after the cartoon series from the 60s. I kind of ignored half of that. And then the other half that was actually the movies, I kind of was okay with it until the big live action movie. Then I was like, no.
Well, the current one they're doing for Scooby-Doo, he's going to WrestleMania to be with the WWE. It's a mystery.
Why?
I have no idea, but they're doing it with the Flintstones too.
Oh, God. Why?
Yeah. Because apparently Warner Brothers decided to jump into bed with the WWE studios to create Scooby-Doo going to WrestleMania and the Flintstones going to WrestleMania.
Is this kind of like how sci-fi, which is for, science fiction and stuff, got to play wrestling? Oh, my head. Not to dog out wrestling. I have nothing against wrestling, but it has literally nothing to do with sci-fi. And I understand Scooby-Doo is actually, if it was done better, Scooby-Doo would be a perfect medium for all sorts of friggin' crossovers. It's done it before. Even before most of our listeners probably remember, or some of you who are old enough can remember, that Scooby-Doo did a crossover with the Harlem Globetrotters.
No, that's a classic episode.
These are classic episodes now. They did crossovers with the Harlem Globetrotters, with Batman and Robin. Yeah, that's right. The Justice Society of America, or Justice League of America, did a crossover with friggin' Scooby-Doo.
And of course, the old standby Dino Mutt and the Blue Falcon did a crossover with them.
Of course, which was actually okay, and bunch of other ones. I mean, the most recent ones in a lot of our memories is, what was it? Scooby-Doo did a crossover with Korn.
Okay, I don't remember seeing that one. I'm gonna have to look that up now.
I believe they actually did that, or it could have just been my delusion.
Smash Mouth?
Yeah,
they did it with Smash Mouth.
Smash Mouth.
Okay.
The Korn one must have been something else.
Probably something that you came up with that would have been cool.
It probably would have been if their drummer didn't decide it, or was it? It was one of their members that decided, I'm going to go find myself. He never came back.
Aww.
I know.
We'll probably never get to see Scooby-Doo jamming on stage to Freak on a Leash. That's alright.
Even though he's for it. But think about it, though. The Scooby-Doo franchise is slowly becoming what is termed a zombie franchise. where it will
Mm-hmm.
keep churning out mess and crap, even though it's beating a dead horse.
Exactly. Or in this case, a dead dog.
And there are just some things in Scooby-Doo that a lot of us are just like, why would you make this decision? One of my
Mm-hmm.
why would you do this moments, at least for me, is hooking up Shaggy and Velma.
Oh my gosh, that was
Dude, for
terrible.
years and years of watching Scooby-Doo, maybe I'm inflexible, probably I am, but I could not fathom Shaggy and Velma together at all. And not to mention, it was so bloomin' convenient for them. Even though it would have made so much better sense, and it did work in the past, for Velma and Shaggy to fall for other people.
Exactly, like Shaggy fell in love with Velma's sister. I think that's where they got the whole little, oh, let's hook up Shaggy and Velma together
Oh,
and get rid of her sister.
why? When did she have a sister?
She had a sister in the Scooby Doo. I think I think. Excuse me, hold on. I'm doing a podcast here. Get out!
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why I don't have sisters.
And that was the part of the segment where Little Pie yells at her family. Anyways, but it was in some Scooby Doo movie. I can't remember which one. I think it was the Abracadabra Doo. That one.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. The last one I remember is the one with the aliens in the desert, and it was some chick named Mary Jane.
No. Mary Jane was from the movie. It was actually a girl. I forgot her name, but she was an alien that Shaggy hooked up with.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
But you're lucky you didn't suffer through the horrors of Scooby and the Music of the Vampire. They sung. Everybody in Mystery Inc. sung.
This is kind of depressing, so let's go over to a different topic now.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, movies we want to see made.
Oh,
now,
good Lord.
I mean,
You have no idea.
Oh, trust me. There is one movie that I'd actually like to see. It's from the Harry Potter franchise. It's terrible because we did discuss this a while back. I was brooding over getting to be a Hufflepuff in Pottermore. And, Vampy here decided to tell me what the Hufflepuffs did in Harry Potter. It's like they were awesome. And come on, who would want to be in a house near the kitchen? Okay? You get to get up in the middle of the night, sneak there, get food. You don't got to put on no punky invisibility cloak like Harry Potter had to put on.
No.
That's right.
Now, Pie. Yeah, I have to admit, I did plant that idea because it kind of makes more sense if you think about it. I mean, if you're a student in Hogwarts and you really, really want some snacks in the middle of the night, it is way less risky if you are a Hufflepuff to get food from the kitchen. It really, really is. Though we have a lot of questions about how some things work in Hogwarts, especially why you couldn't just call a house elf for it, but okay.
And then, in Harry Potter, apparently the Hufflepuffs were the first ones to go fight Voldemort.
Well, I wouldn't say the first ones, but they surely all stayed together as far as I'm concerned. Or at least that's what I read. It's been a minute.
Then there was Cedric Diggory. God rest your soul, Cedric. I love you to death.
We're so sorry that you turned into a sparkly vampire.
He's not even a vampire. He's a sparkle pyre, whatever it's called. Sparkle pyre, fairy.
Sparkle fairy wannabe vampire?
Yeah. Okay, he turned into a vampire. He didn't die. This is straight from the source. He did not die. He got turned into a vampire because the Cullens decided to dig up his cold corpse and make him into a vampire.
It was a very sad day for everybody.
It was a sad day in the Harry Potter world. And, it's like, poor Cedric. He could have avoided certain death and his fate
if he wasn't
not
a nice
with
person.
Harry. No, if he wouldn't have with Harry.
Well, and if he wasn't such a nice person, too.
Yeah, I guess.
That whole let us both grab it at the same time so we can both be champions. That's a Hufflepuff now. Come on.
That's a true, that's Hufflepuff. Hufflepuff is awesome. They should make a movie for the Hufflepuff.
I think they are. It's called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Oh, Hufflepuff, they get a movie? Yeah, embrace your Hufflepuff.
It's because Newt, the guy that wrote Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, he is a Hufflepuff. And
that's awesome.
According to the rumor mill, it's going to take place in New York during the 1920s. And
New York?
Yes. And Miss Rawlings is going to be helping with the script and everything.
Oh, that's going to be awesomeness.
Dude, yes. And from what I'm getting the feel from some people in the fandom, at least on Tumblr, there are some that cast the same bland British white guys over and over again because they don't really know anyone else. And then there are some who are also like me, who are like, dude, there's a whole bunch of other possibilities. We could go with a POC person of color who could be Newt. I mean, there is a whole range of variety of art of actors here. I mean, one of the more popular ones when the news first broke out was Nathan Stewart Jarrett, I believe. And he is mostly known, at least over in the States, as being the track star, the one that screwed up his life, and was on The Misfits. Now, The Misfits was a British TV show that lasted at least 4 seasons, as we would call it. And what they do is basically they try to do the right thing. Okay. Here's how I explain it a little bit better. Basically, they're what we would call parolees, or rather, they're serving out their community service by doing something odd hours to, clean up their records for whatever they've done. And one day, while they were outside, a strange storm hit, electrocuted a bunch of them, and they were gifted with superhuman abilities. Now, they're not the only ones that got superhuman abilities, but that's what happened. And Nathan Stewart's power was that he can go back in time for varying lengths during varying lengths of time. And quite honestly, he was, I gotta say, one of my favorites, aside from a few others in that series. But yeah, that's enough of me plugging that one in.
Okay, I like it though. That's made a point. I actually I like shows like that.
Yeah, it's kind of diverse shows. A very nice one. I kind of liked it, but unfortunately I kind of stopped watching after like season 3 because, well, to be honest, I forgot. It's terrible of me. I should have finished it. I will eventually finish it, but I recommend it for people that want superheroes but not superheroes.
Basically anti-superheroes, kind of like...
Yeah, they're basically gray anti-superheroes. They're a riot, I will say this. The first 2 seasons are definitely a must. If you don't watch nothing else, watch the first 2 seasons.
Nice. Well, what about your movies you would love to see, things you would love to see get made into a movie?
You don't know what pie you have opened up. My can of worms of movies I would love to see. Now, let's turn back the clock for a second.
Okay.
Marvel was never really my go-to place for comics and stuff because I didn't get interested in comics until later on in life. So some characters I didn't know existed until I actually started looking around and the internet became accessible and all that. Now, when Marvel started doing this whole big movie blockbuster deal, you know one of the first movies that helped this lot?
What?
Blade.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
Oh my god, why does everyone forget about Blade, man?
I don't know. I thought he was just a standalone superhero. I didn't know
What
he was
the?
part of Marvel.
Part of Marvel. He's part of Marvel the same way as Swamp Thing is part of DC.
Okay, I didn't know that. The more you know.
Well, I only recently figured out that Swamp. Well, it wasn't recently. I will take that back. It was like been a couple years. But I remember watching the cartoon Swamp Thing as a kid and never realizing it was part of DC's franchise. But anyway, but a lot of people forget to give credit to Blade and Blade's movies for helping Marvel market their movie genre, their Pacific movie of superheroes. Blech, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So here's the thing that I want to come back: more superheroes that are POC. My first one is Storm. Because, come on, I want to know what her origins are. She has fantastic origins that we could delve in that could become something extremely, not only interesting, but pretty awesome to see because we don't see that a lot.
Exactly. We don't even know where she came from. We just know she was with X-Men.
Actually, she's from Africa. I don't know where specific part of Africa because, unfortunately, I never memorized that bit. But apparently, Storm's origin started depending on which version you're looking at because, like DC, Marvel runs on a multi-Earth theory, which is an actual theory, by the way. And so, one of Storm's beginnings is that she was a child of an African American and an African woman who actually had a lineage of being what they would call either a storm witch or a goddess. Now this is hereditary and it passes mainly through the female of Storm's family. So Storm actually has dual citizenship. But anyway, when she was a child, a plane crashed on her house. Yeah, it crashed on her house and it killed her parents, and it traumatized her so badly. That is where she get her That's one of the ways she actually got her claustrophobia, was because she was in that accident. And and then it goes on from there where she learns to be a pickpocket because in one of the origins she was a pickpocket not only to survive but because this guy called the Shadow King, who's also a mutant. Yeah, he calls himself the Shadow King because he can possess other people.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I know. But I believe this is one of the origins in the cartoons, actually. But he called himself the Shadow King, and he used to make Storm do all this stuff until Professor X found her at that point in time of her life and helped her out. But that's just one facet. Storm has like so many other things that are only in the comics that people who go to the movies should see. I mean, come on. She was trained by Wolverine. Wouldn't that be an awesome sequence to see on the big screen?
And, you know,
trained by Wolverine and then kicking Scott's ass. Which she does like 2-3 times.
Well, you know, her actress, Halle Berry, actually is trying to push for them to make a Storm movie.
Oh, it would be lovely if they could. And if they do it, it would be phenomenal. Because, I mean, you have so many elements to pull from. Because, I mean, when she went back there, she was also worshipped as a goddess. I mean, come on now. And then in one of the comics I managed to snag one year at Dragon Con on the cheap because it was the last day.
Cool.
Storm had a very interesting storyline for that book because it started out with her and Scott, or Cyclops, just kind of not agreeing because at the time in this version, she was married to T'Challa, who is Black Panther. Yes. Another movie I wish that was made.
Yes.
Come on now. You have so much stuff you could pull from. And then you introduce him into the cartoon. Earth's Mightiest Hero as one of the Avengers. And you won't put him in the Avengers movies.
Wait, he's an Avenger?
Yeah, he's an Avenger.
Okay, I had no idea about that.
See? You need to watch cartoons more. But it's also in the comics. And there was a really crappy movie about it. The movie still pisses me off to this day, but we will not tell people about this movie. They can find it on their own. Yeah. But the only thing I can say about Black Panther is at least he did have a short run of cartoons. It's only like 6 episodes, which is kind of sad because, come on, it should have been more. I wanted to know what else was going to like screw over Wakanda. I would like to know more about his sister. And spoiler alert, she becomes Black Panther as well in some other comic.
That's cool.
I know.
Well, shouldn't she be called Black Pantheress or something? Or I don't know.
No, just Black Panther because it's a title.
Oh.
It's a title carried on by the royal family of Wakanda. And it goes, and usually it's passed down from father to son, and they have to prove themselves to the goddess Seth, or Bath, however you would call it. And they are endowed, after eating the plant, they're endowed with all these special abilities. So, yeah, it's Black Panther.
That's cool.
Yeah, but Black Panther has a lot of interesting things to it. Now, another movie I would love to see are actually from DC. But I would like DC to not make them an actual movie, I guess. Because, unfortunately, here's the thing that DC has now declined that Marvel has actually excelled more in, and it's starting to excel in cartoons as well, which is going to be a threat to DC. Let's be for real here.
Well, actually, it probably won't because recently in Japan it was announced they were doing a Pokemon-esque Avengers type of thing.
Oh, please. That's because Marvel has basically, when it was drowning in debt, it hoarded itself out. That's literally what happened.
That's right, kids. That's why Mickey is an Avenger now.
It sold not only just Mickey, it literally sold scripts and it sold rights to a lot of their characters to movie studios. That's how we got Blade in the first place, which actually stayed part of the company or something. And then Disney came along and just decided to take it all. It's the mouse.
Jerks. Yeah.
But I will give Disney one thing.
What?
Disney, as far as I know, Disney let Marvel do its thing. It literally let Marvel do what it had to do to market and gain more people into readership instead of trying to force it into being kiddie friendly all the time.
And you know,
which you gotta appreciate.
Yeah, that is true. But you know, actually, Marvel, all of their characters are still over at Universal. Disney not touching them.
Well, Universal is part of Disney.
No, Universal isn't part of Disney. Universal is actually part of Universal.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, come on. I can only tell you that I've only been to one Disney World one time. Hated the weather. And the only thing I noticed was that there was a Universal, Disney World, Animal Kingdom. That was it.
Animal Kingdom's in Disney World. Don't you mean SeaWorld?
I don't know, but I didn't go.
Yeah, SeaWorld.
Fine, SeaWorld, but I didn't go to SeaWorld. I'm telling you where I went.
Oh, you went to Animal Kingdom, the
Animal
Disney's
Kingdom,
idea of a
here's
zoo.
the thing, Animal Kingdom. For any of you who go to Disney during spring break or any time when it's hot, which is usually all the time considering it's Florida.
Well, it's not hot in January.
Okay, fine. It's not hot in January. Take bug spray. Actually, lather yourself up. Because you will be attacked, killed, and eaten by the bugs.
Yes, their bugs are pure evil.
I'm convinced it's Satan's spawn. But anyway, back to the movies.
Okay.
I've gotten far off track for like at least a few minutes here. Another bunch of movies I would love to see would be lovely to see come out of DC would be, I would have to say, a range of movies. I would like to see another Green Lantern, but with Jon Stewart.
Wait a minute.
Disney, I mean, not Disney, but DC missed the ship for that one. I get that we have to have, I get that, Hal Jordan is more or less the showrunner for the Green Lantern Corps, even though he's not the first one. But here's the thing. Most of us grew up with the cartoon Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Guess who we remember the best?
The Black Green Lantern.
Jon Stewart, who was introduced in the 70s, mind you, which is a lot of black characters, to be honest. But, come on now. They would have done so much better if they had done Jon Stewart's story as the Green Lantern, and then have gone back and then did, oh crap, why do I always keep forgetting his name, even though I just said it 5 seconds ago?
The black guy Green Lantern, Jon Stewart?
No, not Jon Stewart. I'm talking about Hal Jordan. Thank you.
Oh, him.
Now, Hal Jordan, if they did that as like a prequel or like a before story, that would have made it even, it would have given them more time to do it better than what we got. And I get that a lot of people enjoy what we did get, but it was probably the least one of the least favorites from DC that I have that I've ever seen, to be honest. It could have been better. I'm just saying, if they had done Jon Stewart's movie first, they would have gotten more of an audience than if they had then put out Hal Jordan's run, which would have explained more about Jon Stewart's run. It would have made a lot more sense. It probably came out better.
Yeah.
But that's just me trying to figure that one out there.
No, actually it would have been good. I mean, come on. I actually watched it, and I was like, who is this dude? Who is he?
Yeah, that was a feeling a lot of people had, to be honest. A lot of us 20-somethings who weren't really into the comics and loved movies. We were mostly kind of like, who the hell is this?
Where did he come from? What ring he congealed from?
I think the only highlight of that was Kilowog, to be honest. Everyone loves Kilowog. This is not up to debate.
Well, I'm not debating. I'm just saying.
I know. But, as I was saying, back to DC. The movie I would love for DC to put out, of course, would be Jon Stewart, Aquaman.
Oh, come on, Aquaman.
Sweetheart, don't argue with me here. You don't know.
Okay, it's
And now
not
I
the
can
Aquaman.
understand. And now I can tell you that I understand my comic geek friends when people are like, "You mean that character?" And you're just sitting there thinking, "You have no idea what you're talking about."
As long as he's not the sucky Aquaman with
There
the
is
short
no
blonde
sucky
hair.
Aquaman. There is literally no part of him being sucky ever, except in Flashpoint. That was kind of stupid.
Yeah, that one.
No. There's a different reason why I say Flashpoint. This is a spoiler for people who don't know what Flashpoint entailed and what it really is. Like my friend Pie here. You have no idea what Flashpoint is, do you?
Not a clue. I've heard about it, but yeah, I haven't watched it.
Exactly, so you can't say. But here's the thing. Most people, when they're like, "Oh, Aquaman's so sucky," it's only because they vaguely recall this comic being made, and some of them who are old enough to remember only remember the cartoon,
Yeah.
with the first Justice League cartoon, which was Hanna-Barbera, and that was not actually a very flattering cartoon for anybody, to be honest. It really
Yeah,
wasn't.
that's how we got the Wonder Twins.
Yeah, the Wonder Twins are worse. Let me put it this way: the Wonder Twins. At least the girl had a nice power. I will say this: her power was pretty cool and proactive. But the boy was kind of like, why? Literally can be defeated by a sponge. And you make fun of Aquaman, who could just probably stand there and just let the kid do whatever and still be like, "Are you done, son? Are you done?" But here's the thing. People rag on Aquaman because of this one cartoon, this one time in the past, and they have no freaking idea about the different ages and stages and revamps and storylines that have gone through. And this will also tie into the whole girls obviously so do not like superheroes. I mean, come on. Superheroes are basically superpowered people that have soap opera drama.
Like the whole love triangle with Batman and Wonder Woman.
Oh god, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Holy Trinity, as it is called in DC. Well, they kind of are, because they were the first three that came out. It's well, not the first three, but they're the ones that were marketable. Hey, speaking of Wonder Woman, you remember, do you hear about the movie that's coming out for Woman?
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh. Pie has thought of something?
No, I just think it's cool.
That's it?
And it's Wonder Woman. Come on, she's had a lot of movies, but it's Wonder Woman. The first female superhero that I came in contact with.
Aww.
I mean, I was a little girl. My mom turned Wonder Woman on for me on TV, and I was like, oh my gosh, she is so cool. I mean, yes, her lasso, the fact that she had her accessories, they weren't just for looking pretty. She could block bullets with her wrist cuffs. I think that's what they're called.
Wristbands.
Yeah, wristbands. She had a lasso that could make you tell the truth.
The tiara. Before Sailor Moon threw her tiara, guess who threw her tiara first?
Yes, Wonder Woman threw her tiara first.
But the thing with Wonder Woman that is interesting, that at least I found interesting until, once again, the reboot. Again, we're not going to talk about the reboot, but we're going to talk about the reboot. Now, originally, Wonder Woman had some conflicting backstory, because some people, even in Justice League, you kind of had the sense that a lot of people had different ideas of if Wonder Woman had a father at all, if they even entertained that thought, who that father would be. And the original origins, which was Wonder Woman didn't have a father at all. She was made of magic and blood. No, that's literally how she was born. And the Wonder Woman cartoon movie that came out actually went with the idea of blood and magic, which, to be honest, I actually liked a lot better because it made her more mystical. And quite honestly, I liked the idea of her being born that way. Or also, this is how Amazons are actually created. It's kind of cool. While we have more conflicting ideas, like the whole Zeus is the father of Wonder Woman is the current canon at this moment. That's the current canon in New 52. Zeus is her father, along with several other thousands of kids that Zeus just fathered and ran off and on.
He get around. Zeus is the original deadbeat dad.
Yeah, but the thing that always kills me about that is that depending on how you see Hera, I could never understand why she didn't dislike Wonder Woman because of that.
Oh, come on.
Well, think about it. Most representations of Hera that we have seen that doesn't have Zeus as the whole I am only with Hera and Hera alone deal has Hera as a very vengeful and angry woman, which, you know what? She has every right to be because her husband is sick. Literally. He goes around sticking it everywhere as everything.
They didn't want to stick it in electric socket. Anyways.
But here's the thing. Hera is like the goddess of marriage. She's a goddess of union type deal. She's mother type. That is who she is. And it's kind of like Zeus being the dude that goes around sleeping with everything. He's basically shitting all over that. So I can imagine that she is always angry, and I could also imagine getting to a point where she finally stops caring. Because you've got only two ways about this. Either you kill the man or you stop caring.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to what I was saying. Hera, it's kind of interesting. I haven't seen how she was handling this aspect in the comics because, as far as I know, no one actually talked about it. Listeners, if you know something about this, feel free to answer this. I have no idea. But yes, aside from them and aside from Wonder Woman's movie and aside from Aquaman, I am not going to go into detail. We'll do that at another podcast. Explain in excruciating detail why people are wrong for crapping on Aquaman all the time. And has suffered just as badly as any other superhero in DC, if just about as bad as Batman in some aspects, depending on which version you're going with.
I have to agree.
Hey, the Aqua family are my family. I can't lie. Let's see. What other movies did you want to see?
Well, a decent Dragon Ball Z movie. I'm sorry for those who like Dragon Evolution. It sucked. I actually went to the theater.
Talk about Dragon Ball Evolution ever again. Dragon Ball Evolution does not exist.
Yeah, and if you actually do, if any of you listeners out there who go and get the movie, this isn't my recommendation, but if you get the movie, you will sit there and laugh at how stupid it is. Goku should not have been in high school.
Goku shouldn't have been white.
Exactly. That's like The Last Airbender. We'll cover that in the next podcast, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll cover the whole why did they do this? Why is this cast? In an episode.
Exactly.
But Dragon Ball, I mean, there is a Dragon Ball Z movie out there that is actually made correctly, I guess. I'm not sure. I haven't actually seen it.
I don't think there is.
But it exists. I swear to you, it does.
And you know it's bad. The creator of the show And the manga and everything pertaining to Dragon Ball Z says, just think of this as an alternate universe. That's how bad it was.
That is terrible.
We are lucky he didn't pull a Shotaro Ishimori and pull the whole Dragon Ball Z fandom and every fandom, manga, everything from America, like they did with Kamen Rider.
Was it because of Kamen Rider Dragon?
No. Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, I will give it its props. I mean, the Henshin ticked me off, but it was actually originally, back in the 90s, Kamen Rider was called Masked Rider. That's why we messed up. That's why we don't got any Kamen Rider here, hardly. Because the creator, Saban, the Power Ranger people, we'll cover that in the podcast, decided to combine 3 different Kamen Rider series. 3! They didn't splice the footage nice. No, not VR Troopers. VR Troopers used 4. It was actually Kamen Rider. And, Masked Rider, whatever. And they messed up the backstory. Masked Rider was about this alien kid with his sidekick and an adoptive family. I mean, that's well and good, but they messed up. It's like, you're not supposed to use footage from 3 different series for power-ups. And then, it's like, poor Shotaro Ishimori. His work was bastardized badly.
I'm just gotta ask, what did they think would happen? This is Saban. Saban is the company that bastardized all types of work. We're not even going to talk about Tomb Makers here.
Okay, don't get me.
We're not going to talk about that. That is an entire different podcast.
But, they don't exist.
But let's just close out with the movies that we want to see with just these following movies out of random. The Aquaman movies, movies about, actually, do Batwoman movies. While we're at it, Jon Stewart, and then Storm, Black Panther.
The Hufflepuff movie.
Yeah, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which we are getting.
Yay.
Let's cross our fingers for some good actors that aren't being repeated. Let's hope for the best.
Yes.
Okay. One more. Dear Disney, no more of the same princesses, please.
Yes. Well, not Frozen was
good. Is coming out, and that is either a tentative name or whatever. But could you guys please stop with the adjectives for titles? Because it's kind of annoying now.
Disney.
Do you just go through a dictionary, flip through for a word, and just say, okay, the next movie will be Splash. No, I'm sorry. There's already a Splash 1 and 2. God darn it. Okay. Splish.
Well, Disney just doing it because they want boys to go to their princess movies.
Well, to be honest, here's the thing. Boys watch these movies too, regardless of what the name is. I know this is fantastic, phenomenal new news for people, but boys and girls watch the same amount of crap. All watch the same stuff. There is no actual gender bias for these shows. If you make it, they will watch.
And that's why we got bronies.
No. We got bronies for other reasons.
We got to cover that in a podcast, too.
Maybe later. In another podcast, because this has some triggery things to it that cannot be explained in this one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Shipping wars.
Dun, dun, dun.
And, yes, from the dawn of time, from the first fandom, shipping wars have been around since the first fandom.
Not even the
ranging
first fandom, sweetie.
Really?
No. Shipping wars have been around since people were able to figure out, hey, I wonder who and this person would do if they had sex.
And it's before the times of the crazy fangirls pairing everyone and everything that walks. They could pair a paper bag with a light switch and call it their OTP.
Not even fangirls, even you boys, you testosterone-driven dudes, you're just as bad. Batman and Wonder Woman. You guys got pissed when your favorite two weren't together, or when your favorite two were together with other people that you didn't like. You got pissed too. That is shipping.
Uh-huh.
So,
and
what are we going to talk about first with shipping?
Well, I have to say, since I'm a Kamen Rider fangirl, I ship really hard Shotaro and Philip in Kamen Rider Double.
I have to agree with this. After watching Kamen Rider W, there is literally no way else to see this. Well, you can see it other ways. You can see it as a very strong friendship. And because it is not made in the West, which is us, the Americans, and even people in Europe, it's not made for our sensibilities at all, and it shouldn't be. But for us, we would look at it and be like, are they frick-fracking? Maybe.
And trust me, the fandom for those two, is very strong on Tumblr. I mean, I didn't originally ship Shotaro and Philip together. I was like, oh, they're just like brothers. First picture, Shotaro and Philip, I was like, oh my god, it makes perfect sense. Shotaro actually cried when Philip died.
Spoiler!
Oops. Oh well. I mean, I feel bad. At the time, I was like, oh, Shotaro, he'll come back. He will come back. He came back. It's like Shotaro was lost without Philip. That's his partner, yes. But it's like he loved her. Loved him. Well, we can call him a her, too, because he dressed up as a chick in one episode. Spoiler. And, it's like, Shotaro and Philip, they have that strong bond. It could work. It works perfectly. You notice.
It does.
They only have one bed.
Here's the thing. I am not in the whole Kamen Rider series. I actually ended up watching it because I ran out of stuff to watch once.
Mm-hmm.
And even on my first viewing of Kamen Rider W, I was like, are you two going to get together at some point? Because this is becoming quite obvious. But... Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a ship I do certainly also ship.
Yes.
I can see it working out quite well.
Yes.
Any other ships, my friend?
Mamoru and the Fiore.
Mamoru and Fiore. If Promise of the Rose didn't make you think of this pairing at all, you have been watching it wrong. I'm sorry, but the link that Fiore goes to get Mamoru, and then not only to get Mamoru himself, but to, like, find him the perfect gift is almost single-minded, obsessive in an unhealthy way, but kind of cute. And it's also, you gotta hand it to Shiori. For those of you who haven't watched Sailor Moon R, Promise of the Rose, English or Japanese, I caution you that this is going to be spoiler filled. I'm
Go
sorry.
to it.
But here, but you can warn. But here, but come on now. The link that Fury is basically the smartest villain of the Sailor Moon franchise in a lot of ways.
Dr. Tomo was smart too.
Huh?
Dr. Tomo was smart too. Now I will work for him.
Now, I'm saying in the anime wise, he is literally the smartest person because he's the only one that looked at Usagi while she was in civilian form and then saw her again at Sailor Moon and was like, hey, you're the same girl.
Okay, I will give him that. That was cool. That was awesome the way he did it.
Come on. He is the only one that I can't help it. I gotta give him props for that one because that was actually pretty damn smart. But
Mhm.
Fury and Mamoru have an interesting parallel because they were both orphaned. They were both alone in the world. And if there was a possible means for Fury to live on Earth, you bet your ass he would have lived there.
And we would have saw him a lot more.
And Mamoru would have probably have been way, way more social and a lot more of an interesting conflict. But aside from Mamoru and Fury, as one of my ships that I do love the ship on the side, I am a Mamoru and Usagi fan. Deep at heart, at my core, that was my first pairing for that anime. That was it.
Mhm.
But aside from them as my top one that will sometimes win out, I guess, I do have other ships, even though most of my ships are usually Mamoru slash insert person slash insert third person, because why not?
That's right, kids. Mama, that's right. Here's the Sailor Moon fandom's bike. Everybody wants to ride.
Literally, at least in canon, everybody. I'm sorry, people.
No. Minako didn't want him. She didn't want him.
That's because they didn't show Minako, and that's actually one of the weaknesses I find in the anime is that they don't show much of his relationship with the other inner Senshi as they do with him, Rei, Amy, and Usagi.
Oh, and don't forget, well, we seen him hanging around with Haruka-san every now and then. We saw him hanging around with her, unless I'm going off the musicals.
Yeah, if you go off the musical, yes. And if you go off the anime, I mean, not just the anime, but off the manga, you also could make a good argument that he and the Outers get along fabulously well. After S and time in Supers, there's that lag, which I think would be called. It would actually be Princess Kaguya's Lover, which is an actual manga, but we would know it as Hearts and Ice in the English version.
Mhm.
Now in the manga version, we see that all the Sailor Senshi, Sailor Scouts get together and they're having their own little cute Christmas party and stuff, and it's completely adorable.
Mhm.
And
but then,
what?
But then, there is one thing that I find annoying.
What?
The Outer Senshi didn't have very much screen time.
A lot of people have that complaints actually in the original. In the original run, when at least over here in the Western Sphere, we only got up to Supers. They never dubbed stars. We don't know what happened to them.
Oh, I know what happened.
But
the Starlight's changing gender is what happened.
Yeah, we're going to get to that later.
Yeah.
But somehow this turned from shipping wars to critiquing Sailor Moon really quick. But bear with us, my friends. But here's the thing that I find the anime gives us a lot to work with in terms of shipping, because it fleshes out the villains quite well, actually. Except for, ironically enough, Queen Beryl.
I know. I thought Beryl got shafted.
Yeah, I believe Beryl got shafted too. Because, I mean, think about it. Beryl's motivation in the manga is so clear and so much on Prince Endymion and on her love for him and on why she literally reasoned out that she could do this, gather this power from this entity that told her it would help her get who she wanted. And that is some powerful stuff. Love is a very, very powerful thing.
And she was actually the first villain to kill Sailor Moon, if you think about it.
Well, no, she didn't kill Sailor Moon, though.
No, in the manga, she killed her.
No, she didn't.
She did? Okay, I have to go back and read it then.
Yeah. You see, in the manga, she killed Endymion while she was possessed by Queen Metalia.
Oh.
Now, under normal circumstances, I fully believe that Beryl would not have killed Endymion under no circumstances whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
However, because she was possessed by this entity that has now gained enough control and power to put itself in her, she would have ended up killing anybody that was in her way.
Yeah. And it just had to be Princey.
Well, he threw himself between her and Princess Serenity.
Mama-chan, why? Why, sweetie?
That
You could have lived a full life.
as Prince Endymion, his personality and his circumstance of growing up was completely different than what Mamoru had to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Nations and different ideals are working together.
Mm-hmm.
And this works all in terms of shipping and how these characters respond. Because in the manga, all types of spoilers are happening right now. But in the manga, with Beryl, there's a panel in one of the comics where she herself is remembering when she came to the Dark Kingdom in our present, actually, and she had awakened Queen Metalia.
Uh-huh.
And I have to wonder, why did she feel the drive, the need to come find find the Dark Kingdom itself and then wake it up again? What was on so badly in her life that made her do this and then still chase after Endymion? Because it plays a factor in her love for this guy.
I think I remember why. It was actually, they said before she died and she saw them together, she said her last words were, she had always been in envy of what they had together, which was missing in her own life.
Nah.
That's what it said.
Not in my comic book, but then again,
really?
Because mine is from Smile and Tokyo Pop.
Oh, I got the newer ones.
I got the older ones, and in mine, it was really when she was dying in the present, while he was under the control of Metalia, she said, "I had always wanted you."
Nope. In the newer versions, they actually go by the original Japanese translation. I mean, the original Japanese.
I like mine better.
Well, you are all for that drama, so yeah.
Hey, it makes more sense to me as her character that she would want that she would want him. And yes, she was jealous of them being together because, come on, let's take a look at Beryl and how she looks. Beryl has the body of a grown woman.
Yeah.
She doesn't look like she's 16, maybe 18. Nah, this is a body of a grown woman in at least her early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't help but draw the parallels of how these two were drawn so differently from each other. And it's kind of weird in a way of feeling that Beryl was basically probably, well, we don't really know, to be honest, because we don't know much of the background of Prince Endymion and his relationship to her or lack thereof. This is all speculation on my part.
Mm-hmm.
But we could assume, depending on which version of the Sailor Moon franchise you're gonna figure out or think about, is that there was some type of relationship that existed in some form. However, we don't have actual concrete evidence from the original source material to figure out what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So really, as far as we know, Beryl could have been engaged to this guy, and he just left her for a younger woman.
Now that's not cool. That is not cool at all for him to do that. But I have to agree with you. I like that. That's a good theory. I like the theory. You know what? Screw that. You heard it first. This is canon. This is officially canon, Sailor Moon fans. So take that. Put it in your Moon Wand and use it.
But here's the thing, though. But it's an actual real fear from that time period, if you think about it.
Yeah.
here's the thing. When Nakoto did all this, and what I can infer from the designs, the drawings, the romanticism, is that she's drawing a medieval type period that was quote unquote peaceful as far as we know. And it's all from the perspective of our heroes. But the problem that a lot of people also have in thinking that their version of events are the only events is kind of like, no.
I mean, I know everybody said Beryl killed the Silver Millennium. No, it was Saturn.
Yeah, it's not just Saturn, actually. Here's the thing: Beryl didn't kill in the original source material, the manga. Beryl had only killed Indyman. She's the only one, not just her actually, because she's one of the prominent characters that was able to raise up the armies of Earth against the moon. That was her thing. However, it was Natalia that basically destroyed the moon because of her influence in feeding on the chaotic feelings. So it's sort of a combination of the Earth, Moon, and Beryl that ended the Silver Millennium. And then you have Saturn that comes up, does the cleanup. That's literally what she does. She ends the era. She does
cleanup. Saturn? Poor Saturn. She was a cleanup jerk. Man, if I was her, I would have turned in my henshin one and just left.
Well, here's the thing about Saturn that kind of makes you wonder, why was she locked away? I mean, come on. If this is a peaceful era and there's nothing but peace and everyone's welcome and it's a happy little place, then why was she locked away like she was? The only way she would have been able to have, the way they presented the Outers in this portion, or the way Nakoto presented it, was that the Outers themselves had to, the three of them had to gather at a specific place to unleash Saturn with their talismans. That's one of the things about them. And it kind of makes you wonder, why was she not with everyone else? Why was come on. She has a big responsibility, but I'm pretty sure she carries this responsibility very well. So it's kind of like, wow, this has gone from shipping wars to critiquing Sailor Moon. Really? But, because I have a lot of feelings about Sailor Moon, because it was one of my first animes, and it's like ingrained in me as to ask these questions. I love the show, I love the comic, I love the franchise, but it's not going to stop me from asking questions.
Oh my gosh, we totally could do a Sailor Moon podcast too. That'd be awesome.
Oh, good. Let's make sure we cut this part out, but we can save.
No, we can't edit it out. We gotta keep it in to get everyone interested.
God damn. All right. All right. Next podcast, we will definitely talk about Sailor Moon, the ins, the outs, and all the crap that you were just kind of like, why?
Exactly.
Especially for me, because I have a lot of whys, and a lot of them have to do with one person. Shuichi Tomo.
Oh, Dr. Tomo, man. Oh, I got this. I love him.
I have other questions, and we will get to that next time.
Yes. Okay. Okay, the phenomenon of YOLO. Why is America's youth so stupid?
You mean...
AKA, why are they using it to be idiots? YOLO. You only live once. That's what it's called. You only live once. Okay, like, this is like, has been puzzling me for, ever since I heard about it. It's like, someone does something stupid, and you know what they say? YOLO. And that's, what does YOLO mean? You only live once. Now, here's the thing. Why would Bucky McDeathwish and Susie Stupid use this to, like, I don't know, do some stupid stunts? I mean, not as stupid as owling and planking, But it's like, okay, you rollerblade down across train tracks while a train's coming. YOLO, you sever your limb. YOLO, you post something stupid. YOLO. It's like you only live once, so why would you put your life into danger? Like, so tell us, Bucky, why did you skateboard in front of the train and get hit and you still lived? YOLO. So, Susie, why did you decide to jump into a shark-infested water and you're still alive? YOLO. Exactly. So it's like you only live once and you put your life in danger. Come on, people.
Okay.
Why?
Okay. I can kind of sort of explain this phenomenon.
Okay.
Here's the thing. People will never stop doing stupid shit. Ever. Never, ever. There will never be a time that humanity doesn't try to find a new way to kill itself. People will never stop this. The YOLO phenomenon is not new. What is new to the phenomenon is the fact that we have videotape evidence. More videotape evidence to see this type of really weird and often dangerous behavior. I mean, come on. Before the invention of cell phones that had cameras to them and all this cute little stuff and YouTube and shit like that, all we had were VHSs and the handheld hand recorders. That's literally it. And those things were not as easily accessible as now. These days, we just got cameras on our phones and we can just put it on Vine or something. So the YOLO phenomenon is not new. It's not really. It's just being really seen as something that kids will forever do. Idiots will forever do. But you can also look at it another way. Okay? Now people do the whole YOLO thing mostly because some people say it started because they saw this tattoo on this celebrity. I forgot who it was.
Zac Efron.
Whoever.
It was Zac Efron, High School Musical jerk.
What's this place? Wildcats!
Oh, God.
I have never seen a single movie of High School Musical. Just so much.
So where did that come from?
Tumblr.
Remember, kids, Tumblr kills just like crack. Crack kills. Tumblr kills.
Also takes away social life. I haven't had any since I gotten on that stupid site.
Well, this is a better alternative to DA.
But anyway, with YOLO, the phrase itself, "you only live once," is also to give whoever says it courage to do crap. That is literally what it does. It's kind of like the same way as people yell Geronimo and stuff like that. They say it to give themselves courage. Except that Geronimo was actually a person. So I will not say Geronimo, but say yay.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I guess they're using YOLO as a sort of, oh, I just did it because I thought it was cool, kind of get out of jail free card.
I did it because I was afraid to do it. I mean, think of it this way. YOLO has its own little merits of things because it tries to boost whatever ragged self-confidence you have into doing something that could possibly kill you, and your natural reaction is fear. And so once you've done it, you have indeed lived once.
Yeah.
Just 3 times.
Or 3 times. Yeah. And then people, I find this hilarious. People start using it with hashtags whenever they post up something real stupid. They post up something like they get into a flame war. What did they do? Hashtag YOLO.
I don't understand that one because that's actually kind of stupid.
Exactly. Yeah, you only live once. So what you're trying to say is you only live once, so you're gonna kick the bucket after you post this post.
Oh, how we wish that the culling of the not so bright people. We're gonna go with that. The not so bright people. The people that would win Darwin Awards.
Or the people that decided to take their stupid pills.
Darwin Awards. That's what they are. And yeah, I don't get that bit because it implies that they are indeed very much afraid of answering a post and have now plucked up the courage to answer it in a very
immature
manner.
and stupid way. Mm-hmm.
And it kind of diminishes the word's value in a way, but what do I know? I'm not a linguist. I am not a person that studies languages.
YOLO.
We are never doing that again.
We'll be back with our next topic. Basically, it's the last part of the podcast. Okay, so speaking of recommendations, we have fan fiction recommendations. Vampy, you should go first.
All right. For fanfic recommendations, I am going to take you back in time to when the internet was young and we had very little idea of what we were doing at the time. However, one of the fanfics that have stuck with me from that time period, that actually one of them that inspired me, but not inspired me to make an actual Sailor Senshi for it, is the Sailor Moon Millennia Trilogy. Now, some of you,
God.
Yeah, I know, I went old school on you, didn't I?
Yes, that brings back so many memories.
It is from 1995. That tells you how old this fic is and how much power it still has in the Sailor Moon fandom. Because it was one of the first lengthy, long, and interesting fanfic that came out of Sailor Moon. It really was, at least in the fandom. And at that point in time, we had only had, Sailor Moon R that just came out for a lot of us. And so it's Sailor Moon R and probably, Supers had not come out yet for a lot of us. Or even in comic book form, I guess.
No, in the manga form, it actually did come. Wait, let me double check.
Yes, please.
No, it didn't come out in 1995. The manga actually didn't hit store shelves until 1997.
Yeah. So this tells you that we didn't know anything about Supers and the rest of them. We only had up to 3 seasons here. Or 3 seasons comic book wise. But let me get back to the actual thing. The Sailor Moon Millennia Trilogy is a story that it plays on what we now consider tropes and gimmicks and usual otaku characters. It plays not only onto that, but it gives them a newer leash on. Let me put it this way: it establishes a lot of tropes that we use today. It really did. It goes from Sailor Moon Zodiac to Sailor Moon Genesis. However, I will warn you, my listeners, that Sailor Moon Genesis will never be finished. The site itself is officially closed in 2009. However, it's still up due to its popularity. And because of its popularity and because the creator of the series has, gone on to do better and greater things, she has also authorized that people can make sequels of their own if they wanted to. Make a fanfic of fanfics. She's the first to do that. And like I said, it's still up and going, and I recommend you check that one out for yourself to see something extremely interesting. Now, another person I would point you in the direction to is Deja Talis on fanfiction.net. You have
Oh.
my co-host gasping because this person is amazing. It's let me put it this way. There is at least 1 to 2 stories I would most definitely recommend for this character. I mean, recommend for this person. From this person, I mean, sorry. Which would be the famed and very well known Misconception. Now, Misconception is gotta be, I'm not gonna lie, it's probably like one of the only ones I've read, but it's one of the few Sailor Moon stories that she's done that were published in 2004 that are really well done. They are just magnificent. Misconception itself is about somebody who was born to the King and Queen of Crystal Tokyo, and it's basically a first-person story that from the eyes of the daughter of the King and Queen of Crystal Tokyo, and how she feels about the fact that she herself is not the person they wanted. But they cannot go any other way. It's just like this. You have to read it. I cannot really explain it enough to you. And let's see, other stories by her are pretty good. She's mostly she or he, but they're mostly canon writers, like canon-based writers, or some of it isn't, but it mostly is. Mm-hmm. But no matter what they write, it is done well, and it is done with care and to the characters, and you feel that this could possibly happen. Now we're going to switch fandoms on you, and this is going to rock somebody's world. Because there are some other ones, because I'm part of a lot of fandoms. However, I can only give you a few people that are good that I would recommend. That would be, how do I put this? I would buy their book. There we go. I would buy their book, and I would not feel bad about spending so much freaking money on them. There's not a lot of people that I do that for. Now, let's see. Oh, Sailor Scribbles. She has a Tumblr. Now, Sailor Scribbles does a lot of interesting work. But one of the ones that I do love that is sort of on hiatus, sort of not, I guess, I'm not quite sure. But one of the works that a lot of people love, that I also love, is called Terran Moon. And it's an ongoing fan comic project where Mamoru and the Shitino, the 4 generals, have switched roles with Usagi and the Sailor Senshi. And
what was it called again?
It's called Terran Moon. And it is lovely. I love the way the characters are done. Mamoru's parents and how their jobs work. How it's different from, like, say, Usagi when we are first introduced to her and her family. And she does not forget the one character that is most often forgotten when people do this type of AU, which is Shingo. He is still part of the story. He's somewhere. But she hasn't gotten that far, so you're going to have to do like I do and wait. However, in your wait, also find her cockpit comics, which I believe she translates. And those are adorable little shorts. You would love them to death. And she does other translations too and some fan work. But I'm telling you, she's magnificent. Everything is pretty awesome. So I recommend her most highly.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. Oh, I did say I was going to switch fandom. It's so hard.
I know.
Let's see. What's another fandom? Young Justice. I know a lot of you have certain pairings you love, and I also have pairings I love too. But I will say this: the pairings I love are Koi, which is Roy, Red Arrow, and Caldor. I'm not gonna lie, they're my favorite ones in the world. I would ride and die with my pairing, just so you know. But one of a very good writer for them was, let me see, I'm trying to remember right now because it's been so long since I read her stuff, and I feel kind of terrible that I haven't. I need to go back and read them. Oh, wait a minute. Before I change topic again on a different thing to read, also For King Hell. For King Hell is amazing and hilarious.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, you will love it.
And I'm not gonna lie, while I don't always agree with the pairing here, I cannot say that it is not done badly. It is done pretty well, and I find it hilarious. I just kind of wish there was more. It's one of those fan projects that is amazing. And okay, now we're back to a different fandom topic, which is Young Justice. And I know, I keep dragging my butt to this thing. But for like 2-3 years, I was into nothing but Young Justice when it aired. I was Young Justice gung-ho. And so, one of my favorite authors is known as, in the Young Justice fandom, is known as Shade. Shade is amazing at writing the Roy and Caldor pairing so well that I will believe this happened. One of Shade's most famous fanfics is not just Campus AU or Campus Us. It's also, Camp Us is one. And then there is Meet Me in Timbuktu, I think. Or is it Meet Me in Timbuktu? I have to find it. But you can find Shade's work on fanfiction.net. And let me just put it this way, you will love it.
And we'll link you to it on our podcast page too, so you guys can go read in case you guys are lazy.
Here it is. It's called Meet Me in Montauk, and that, the story. You understand me, my fans, my friends, listeners, when I say I have feels even mentioning the name. I have feels. Good Lord.
Oh, Lord.
And most of Shade's work is usually PG-13. It's pretty good. It's, aside from the whole, I want to cry and curl up in on myself, which I do. Shade's got a lot of good stuff, and I recommend it, especially the new one that Shade is also working on, called Absolute Zero. So you most definitely have to read these things. When we recommend these things, we're not doing it just for the hell of it. We're telling you that these are good pieces of work. Mm-hmm. Now, as for things that aren't fan fiction, I can only recommend probably like 2 books, 3 books, because that's all I've been able to read lately. And they're all by, I think they're all by, POCs, by people of color, women of color, actually. And one of the books I read, actually her entire thing I read her entire library almost, is Octavia Butler, who is a fantasy sci-fi writer. Now, she died in 2006, so I'm sorry if you're just getting into her stuff and you want more from her, but she has unfortunately died. So we're just going to have to cherish and dream on.
Mm-hmm.
But her books are amazingly intricate and is more focused on the human condition and on asking all these different questions about different aspects of society and what we as humans are willing to put ourselves through or willing to surrender to, or what we're allowed, or what we let our prejudice go, or do we keep them. The things she brings up is pretty amazing, and she does it creatively, and she keeps our interest. And also, she has this thing for May December romances. A good majority of her heroines end up, if they do end up in a relationship, is usually with an older gentleman. And usually the older gentleman always respects, or at least understands, where the woman is coming from. Her ladies are interesting. I am not gonna lie. They're pretty vast in what they do. And another one I would mention would be the 100 Kingdoms, I believe. And that was an interesting book to read. I've only read one. I want more, but it's interesting in its take on mythology and how it sees mythology, how this lady wrote about this character going through all this crap, and how she has to survive in this almost Game of Thrones-esque kind of world. And then you also stack on that the gods are real in this world, and they are very much what you would expect gods to be. They're not always kind. They're not always nice. They don't always think of humans as living, breathing creatures. Or when they do, they're just kind of like, eh. Well, they're like actual what gods would probably be like if they didn't really care. And so I found that world interesting because of the protagonist and how her mother and how her world ended up being tied up into this place, and how interesting it was, because it's what I would kind of consider it high fantasy in a way, because of how intricate the world is, because there's like 3 books of this. And then the lady also has other books, but I can't remember them at the moment. And then my final book recommendation would be Beverly Jenkins' Destiny Ranch books. I don't often recommend romance novels because they're cheesy for the most part, and they're usually uninteresting, and they're usually the same bland white lady that goes off to, I don't know, I don't really know. She does stuff and gets dragged around by guys or whatever. But Beverly Jenkins' books are interesting in the protagonist, and how this one was really actually really interesting for me, because this is the first one I picked out, and I need to go back and get the very first book in it. And I was reading Destiny's Surrender. And the thing that made it interesting for me is the main female character is named Wilhelmina. She's called Billy. And she's actually a prostitute. That's what she starts out as. She says it straight up. She's not ashamed of this. This is who she is. She's like, yes, I am a prostitute. What else? It's like, what else do you got? And it's a historical romance, and it's tied around the fact that she was this rich guy's mistress and his personal favorite for the longest time. And somehow she ended up pregnant, but she doesn't know if it's his or not. In the end, she ends up figuring out that it is his child. However, due to circumstances, she has to run away from where she's living at in order to save her child. Because she has now grown attached and loves this child so much that she's willing to go across from where she lived to Mexico, I believe, is where I think they are. And to try and give her child a better life with his biological father and their family. And that's where all hell breaks loose.
Now that's interesting. That's interesting.
It is.
That book sounds interesting.
It very is, because it's a historical romance, so it's got some really interesting pieces coming together in this thing, like per usual of Miss Jenkins. And the story is basically this woman having to marry this guy because his mother is a busybody, and how they had yes, and not only do they have to work out this really unwanted marriage that neither one actually wants. Yes, that's right. She didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it, but they did it. And so they have to work out this thing, and then she has to figure out her place in this world. And then you also have this threat that's hovering over this, and having to read and listen to how this woman adapts into this world. So that is most definitely an interesting read for those who want really proactive females in their romance novels, and not the same tiresome ones that you always get. And those are my recommendations for the day.
Yatta!
So, Pie, what's yours?
Well, I have a few, even though it's a mix of different fandoms. But my prominent fandom, as many of you know, is the Omar High School Host Club fandom. MOMR 3 for life, baby! Anyways, I have to do this because I know it's a little bit self-serving, but you guys have got to check out our version of Season 2 for Omar. It's called Portraits of Princesses. And some brand new girls show up into the host club, and well, they just turn the boys' world upside down. The guys start falling for them. And yes, Harry-chan starts falling for one of the new girls, too. And it's really awesome. And honestly, I know we got to reboot it because, yeah, a lot of character changes, people leave, you know how that is. So, once you guys get the chance, check it out because it's awesome. We're planning on rebooting it. And, well, my next recommendation is, it's uber adorable. This Kamen Rider double thick. It's about Philip, the cute brainchild of I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but of this rich family. And it's so sweet because it's Philip taking notes and noticing little things Shotaro does. It's fluffy. It's full of boy-on-boy romance. And it's adorable. Yes.
Not to be confused with Yalai, but Shonen Ai.
Yeah. It's just the most adorable thing in the world that you could read. It's like, oh, it gives you all kinds of feels. It makes you feel all fuzzy inside. Oh.
It reminded me. I forgot Alyssa Blade.
See? We're so sorry. We're supposed to do a shout out to her, but thanks a lot. Okay, Vampy, I see. In short, Alyssa Blade is this epic Sailor Moon writer who writes so much fluffy Sailor Moon stuff you will die.
And creatively, at that. I think she's now a romance novelist, too.
Just a poetry writer.
Oh, okay.
That's it. She needs to do romance novels. I will buy her books. Okay, and, it's this one Sailor Moon fan fiction. It's terrible that I actually started reading this, but it's called The Bachelor Party. Basically, Haruka-san, Sailor Uranus, gets drunk at Mamoru's bachelor party, and she sings the thong song.
Oh, Lord. Why?
And at the end, you'll never get to put it on YouTube. You will never guess. It will be a surprise. I'm not spoiling it. It's just freaking hilarious. It's terribly hilarious. Now, if you like Uranus, yeah, it's not for you. But other than that, if you want to laugh, just laugh at it because it's so good. And this other Oron fic. It's stupid, but yeah, it's like it makes you think. It's like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. It's called I Lost the Game, and it's actually just centered around Kyoya and his sister Fuyumi. And it's like she runs in and she yells out that she has an emergency. But then Kyoya asks her what's wrong, and at the end, she says she lost the game. So yeah, that one's good too.
Crap, I lost the game.
Well, the game is over because they said at Youmacon that everyone won the game. Anyway, non-fanfiction wise, honestly, I do have one, but it's old. I'm taking you way back to when it first came out, when it was a movie. Well, when it was a book before the movie. It's Where the Heart Is. It's so beautiful. It's the sweetest thing, and it actually has more to it than the movie did. In short, the ending will surprise you. It's not the fluffy, happy ending to it. It's not at all. It's actually more realistic, has a lot more... The plot line actually goes smoothly than the movie did. And it explains every character's life, and the people that she meets. It's actually great. I recommend that one. And, well, I recommend all Harlequin romance novels because I am a romance fanatic and I love them to death. So any romance novel by Harlequin is good. And I guess I'll plug my original. And the original story that me and my partner, Sammy, a.k.a. we are the Mistress of Romances, we are working on Starlight Renegades. That's about a troubled band that's dealing with a lot of crap. It's dramatic. It's a lot of drama. We're still writing it, but if you guys hang on, we shall have a lot more chapters for you. That's my recommendation.
So, I guess it's about that time, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. We've got a magical carriage to catch, and next week we'll actually have questions from you guys.
But we also have one thing to say. Since today is January the 1st of 2014, the first day of the year, we also have one thing also left to say.
What, YOLO?
Oh, no. Not to be so crass. James Avery, Sr., we will miss you. You were Uncle Phil, Mr. Shredder, and a myriad of other things, but a lot of us will always remember you a lot for being the TV dad that we had in our home.
Every week. We miss you, Uncle Phil. Yeah. We know you in heaven right now, wishing you could smack Will in the head for being an idiot.
Like always. But
yeah,
we will miss you. You are much loved.
One love, man. One love.
Oh, Lord, not that.
Hey, it's sweet.
Either way.
Yeah.
And
either way,
as Lil Pie has said, we do have a carriage to catch. Or she does. I'm riding a horse.
Well, excuse me for wanting to be a princess.
You can be a princess as long as I get to have the kick-ass sword.
Okay, fine. I have my frying pan. So there. So, we got about to our listeners. Thank you for listening. Stay away from those loose women on the street. And remember to brush your teeth daily. But not with broccoli.
So if you are going to go near the loose women, please remember to be safe. And
don't be a fool. Rock your tool.
And be nice. Ask about her life. I mean, sometimes everybody needs a moment to talk.
Yes, they do. So we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
See ya.